my fellow freedom lovers and sovereign thinkers. This is LL3's News Podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful swampy mangroves of South Florida. And today's date, Thursday, June 2nd, 2016, and whoops, the music was still on when I spoke, but that's okay. That's one thing about podcasts. You gotta have fun. Take it too seriously, we get gray real quick. Yeah, I'm just a nice sweltering day in beautiful Sunrise, Florida. So I'm staying here again at the park, Markham Park. Check it out if you're ever in Broward, if you ever head out of Broward County. Markham Park, pretty cool place. Nice big field, plenty of acres. Have a shooting range, but the rules a little bit sketchy in my view, and I say that respectfully. But they have good concerts here now and then. So, and right near the Everglades, so if you want to hang out with the Gators, come over. Yeah, I'm just kicking back. Slept most of the day. Had to take a nap. Had few little personal things happen, but nothing serious. Okay, I had a laugh. It was entertaining because I'm planning to hit the road again. Hopefully by this weekend, but hopefully we'll see how the floodings are in Texas. So everyone in the great state of Texas, Lone Star State, my thoughts are with you. Please be safe. Stay safe, including some of the brothers I know in Houston and everywhere else. So I won't be that biased. All right, well, I'm just not do another show. Go, what the heck? Because I can. And a few things came up. And this one here is from Activist Post. It's by Michael Snyder, who does the End of the American Dream and the Economic Collapse blog. This one's entitled Barack Obama warns America to be prepared for disaster. Oh, really? Let's continue here. What it says here. When Barack Obama speaks to the public, it's very rare that he does so without a specific purpose in mind. So why is he urging Americans to be prepared for a disaster? All of a sudden, on May 31st, Obama took time out of his extremely busy schedule to deliver an address at a FEMA National Response Coordination Center in Washington. Of course, Jimmy Carter signed it into the executive order to be exact. Just to give you that fact. During his speech, he stressed that every American is responsible for preparing for disasters, and that includes having an evacuation plan and having a fully stocked disaster supply kit. These are basic steps I have been encouraging people to do for years. But if they won't listen to me, perhaps they'll listen to the man currently residing in the White House, especially when it comes out of a teleprompter. The following excerpt from Obama's speech comes directly from the official White House website. I don't have to see it, but if you want to check it out, go ahead. One of the things that we learned over the course of the last 7.5 years is that government plays a vital role, but it is every citizen's responsibility to be prepared for disaster. That means taking proactive steps, like having an evacuation plan, having fully stocked disaster supply kit. If your local authorities ask you to evacuate, you have to do it. Don't wait. This speech was timed to coincide with the beginning of hurricane season, which started yesterday to be exact, although hurricanes have not been posed much of a threat lately. In fact, a major hurricane has not made landfall in the United States for the 127 straight months. But without a doubt, you need to be prepared for a disaster. Hurricanes can create short-term energy that can last for a few days, but there are other threats that could create a major emergency that could potentially last for an extended period of time. That list of potential threats includes a major volcanic eruption, a natural engineered pandemic, a West Coast earthquake, a New Jersey earthquake, a tsunami on either east or west coasts, a meteor impact, Islamic terror, war, an EMP burst that takes down the power grid, cyber warfare, economic collapse, and civil unrest resulting in the imposition of martial law. Of course, items that I just mentioned are not mutually exclusive. And in fact, in different scenarios, we could actually see multiple events happen in rapid succession. It is interesting to note that during his speech, Barack Obama also noted that the American people seem to have become very complacent about getting prepared. And what we've been seeing in some public complacency slipping in, a large portion of people not having preparedness kits, not having an evacuation plan. This is exactly what I've been noticing as well. there appears to be a tremendous amount of apathy out there, and relatively few people really seem to feel much urgency to get prepared these days. My contacts in the emergency preparedness industry have been telling me that the sales are way down right now. There was a big peak last fall, but since it's like interest is prepping, it has just fallen off the map. It has its ups and downs like everything else. Ultimately, those companies are going to be okay because interest will pick up again shortly as global events begin to spiral completely out of control. However, much greater concern is the fact that people have not been using this period of relative calm constructively, just like what we have seen in Venezuela. In time to prepare eventually runs out. Excuse me here. And someday there will be millions of parents that are absolutely horrified when their children come out to them crying for food and they don't have anything to give them because they didn't heed the warnings and they didn't get prepared. When that day arrives, many of those families may be forced to turn on whether help the government is offering at the time. One more thing that I found particularly noteworthy about Obama's speech, what that he said there is now a FEMA app that direct you to the nearest FEMA shelter in the major event of a major emergency. Interesting. Come on down. Go there, you bunch of cows and sheep. Welcome to the slaughterhouse. If you need information about how to put together an evacuation plan, how to put together a disaster preparedness kit, ask Craig. Says we've got an app for everything now. We have a FEMA app in English and in Spanish to help you prepare for a family for a disaster. You can update the natural service, weather service alerts. You can get safety tips, 2 or more than 20 kinds of hazards. It provides you direction to nearby shelters. Could you envision yourself and your family having to take refuge in a FEMA shelter someday? If not, you should do what you can do to get prepared now. Over the next couple of days, my wife and I will be releasing a couple of new videos about preparation on our YouTube channel. There's a link for it, so please, my friends, check it out. I hope many of you will check them out, and I will endorse that, Mr. Snyder. Unlike Venezuela, it looks like we may still have a little bit more time to prepare for what is ahead. Some people will relax and use this time to party, but those that are wise will work diligently and will do what they can to get ready for the exceedingly challenging times that are rapidly approaching. Hopefully you are listening to the warnings and are heeding what the watchmen are saying. If not, the consequence for what will happen to you and your family will ultimately be on your hands. Can't argue with that, my friends. And he has a link on there too. And if I'm correct, yep, Michael and Miranda Snyder. Subscribe to it. You won't be disappointed. And it's interesting because he uses a lot of Christian values, biblical values. But whatever you do, don't get that discouraged, because this man has some great information. Let's take a look at on preparing. Because even on some people tell me about the Mormons are very good at that, on preparing for food and stocking up for a year. You don't have to agree with their faith, but it's good to learn about their knowledge. The basics, what they try to get us out of, try to have us take things for granted. I've been prepping up myself since September 11, 2001. And I'm like a gypsy, so you don't know where I'm going to be. But you have to always be vigilant, alert, and pay attention. I always encourage that to my friends around the world, my brothers and sisters around the world, fellow freedom lovers and sovereign thinkers. Doesn't matter where you're at, of whatever the continent you are presiding. And what really baffles me, President Barack Obama says we have to prepare. Oh my goodness. Come on, everyone. We have to bow down to our bend over Bob to the New World Order. That's how I feel about my president. Or not my president, but the president of the corporate United States of America. Yes. But definitely check out that link on that video. Okay? It's very cool Because remember, concentration camps, FEMA camps he has on here too, which is very, very interesting, my dears, my friends. So definitely check out his stuff, observe responsibly, and you won't be disappointed. He is a good man, I would say that. Him and I, we follow each other on both on Twitter and and we're Facebook pen pals. We may have different views, but we have a lot in common. I think that's what makes it unique because common interest always has to be vital. They want us to divide it because of our faith or how we look, or on our thought process. But loving one another can really prevail. It won't be easy. Expect a rough ride wherever you go. It's happening right now on what planet around the planet. I always urge that to my friends to be vigilant, please. And that's enough of that. On that note. Next one here came from Activist Post again. Yeah, there'll be a few on Activist Post. And so this one here says Massachusetts committee passes bill to expand raw milk sales. Set foundation to nullify federal prohibition schemes. It's by Mike Maharrey, at 10th Amendment Center. Last week, Massachusetts Joint Committee passed an agricultural bill that would expand raw milk sales in the state. Passing the bill into law would facilitate the process of nullifying the federal prohibition scheme in practice. The Senate Ways and Means Committee created Senate Bill 2286 to incorporate several measures relating to agriculture. It replaced Senate Bill 2171, which was created by a joint committee on the environment, natural resources, and agriculture. The bill number has changed several times. The legislation would allow farmers to deliver raw milk to consumers through contractual arrangements. Licensed raw milk farmers shall be allowed to deliver raw milk directly to the consumer off-site from the farm, provided that the raw milk farmer has a direct contractual relationship with the consumer. Raw milk farmers may contract with a third party for delivery, provided that the raw milk shall maintain a contractual relationship with the consumer. The raw milk farmer may deliver raw milk through a community-supported agriculture CSA delivery system, provided that the raw milk farmer shall maintain a contractual relationship with the consumer. Delivery may be made directly to the consumer's residence or to a pre-established receiving site. Such sites shall not be in a retail setting, with the exception of CSA delivery. In such instances, raw milk shall be kept separate from retail items for sale and will not be accessible to the general public. S2286 would also allow farmers to sell raw milk from a farm stand, even if it's not directly attached to the raw milk dairy. This would open the door to raw milk sales at farmers markets. On May 23rd, Joint Committee on Rules passed the legislation with a favorable report. It now moves the House to the House Ways and Means Committee for further consideration. Provisions in the original bill that would have allowed farmers to sell raw milk through herd sharing agreements were stripped from the bill by the Ways and Means Committee. Senator Benjamin Downey, Democrat from Pittsfield, attempted to put the language back in the bill through an amendment on the Senate floor, but it was rejected. Under the current Massachusetts law, raw milk sales are only allowed on the farm, where limited measures in SS 286 will expand the sale and consumption of unpasteurized milk in the state. Federal prohibition. FDA officials insist that unpasteurized milk poses a health risk because of its susceptibility to contamination from cow manure, a source of E. coli. It is the FDA's position that raw milk should never be consumed, agency spokeswoman Tamara N. Ward said in November 2011. The FDA's position represents more than a matter of opinion. In 1987, the feds implemented 21 CFR 1240.61a, providing that no person shall cause to be delivered to interstate commerce or shall sell, otherwise distributed or wholesale or other distributions after shipment of interstate commerce any milk or milk product in final package form direct human consumption unless the product has been pasteurized. Sorry about that, but 10th Amendment stands. Not only do the feds ban the transportation of raw milk across state lines, they also claim the authority to ban unpasteurized milk within the borders of the states. Yeah, tell it to James Madison. It is within HHS authorities to institute an interstate ban on unpasteurized milk as well. FDA officials wrote in response to Farm to Consumer Legal Defense Fund lawsuit against the agency over the interstate ban. The FDA clearly wants complete prohibition of raw milk, and some insiders said it's only a matter of time before the feds try to institute an absolute ban. Armed raids by FDA agents are on companies like Rawsome Foods back in 2011 and Amish Farm over the last few years also indicate the scenario may be not be too far. Long live the feds! Bow down and kiss their feet. Nullify the federal scheme. Nullifying the federal scheme. Passage of S2286 would take a step forward nullifying this federal prohibition scheme in effect. We've seen with marijuana industrial hemp and intrastate ban becomes ineffective when states ignore and pass law encouraging the prohibited activity anyway. The federal government lacks the enforcement power necessary to maintain its ban, and people will willingly take on the small risk of federal sanctions if they know the state will not interfere. This increases when the state actively encourages the market and nullifies federal prohibition in effect. We've seen this demonstrated dramatically in states that have legalized industrial hemp. When they authorized production, farmers began growing industrial hemp, even in the face of a federal ban, despite facing the possibility of federal prosecution. Some growers were still willing to step into the void and begin cultivating the plant once the state removes its barriers. In the same way, removing state barriers to raw milk consumption, sale, and production would undoubtedly spur the creation of new markets for unpasteurized dairy products, no matter what the feds claim the power to do and practice and effect. It could ultimately nullify the interstate ban as well if all 50 states allow raw milk markets within the states could easily grow to the point that local sales would render the federal ban on interstate commerce pointless. And history indicates the feds do not have the resources to stop people from transporting raw milk across state lines, especially if multiple states start legalizing it. Growing markets will quickly overwhelm any federal enforcement attempts. He is right. I like this stuff. I think it's great, man, because we're going to go, when feds know best, then they screw the rest. They tread on folks like you and me. Yeah, yeah. This is why you have to really laugh at these clowns with all these stupid little laws they try to pass. It doesn't work. Like I said before, time and time again, the government needs the people more than the people need the government. The more you learn that, folks, the better you enhance your confidence to liberate humanity. This is why I'm always laughing when I hear these FDA people and go, oh, well, we have to do it this way to protect the people's best interest. And like a bunch of bobbleheads, pencil pushing, geek. Okay, well, you know how that goes. Come on. Bunch of twits. They can't even fight themselves out of a toilet paper, okay? That's how I look at it. But this is great. At least I'm happy that the Spirit of America, Massachusetts, is taking this stance. They got a long ways to go to really liberate that state. All right, Massachusetts. Remember, men call it Massachusetts and the whole firearms laws and all that. They get all those scams. And of course, I still remember what happened in the Watertown district of Boston when it was all on video when the cops dressed up as a bunch of G.I. Joes troops going in people's homes, guns pointed, going in their homes without warrants. So they got a long ways to go, but I am very happy to see this in the making. So anyone in Massachusetts, support this bill. The feds need you more you need them. I know I'm repeating myself, but that's how it goes. And that's it for that one. The next one here came from thetrueactivist.com. And it says here, Germany produced so much energy last month, prices went negative for a day. On May 8th, generated 87% of its power from renewable sources, prompting electric suppliers to pay users to consume energy. Nearly a year ago, Denmark produced 140% of its energy needs in one day, providing that it's possible for a country to run completely on renewable energy. Now, Germany has made headlines for accomplishing a similar feat. According to Quartz, Germany generated around 87% of its power for renewable resources on May 8th, prompting electric suppliers to pay users to consume energy. Reportedly, the day was windy and sunny with mass amounts of energy derived from wind, solar, biomass, and hydro plants caused electricity prices to plummet into negative numbers. Out of 163 GWs being consumed to 55 GW, General Watts, came from renewable sources. As a result, gas power plants were stopped. Coal and nuclear plants, however, weren't shut off in time. In effect, heavy electric consumers, such as foundries and refineries, were essentially paid money to use more energy, said Christoph Bodowiz of Agora Energy Wind. We have a greater share of renewable energy every year. The power system adapted of this quietly nice. This day shows again that the system with large amount of renewable energy works fine. And here in 2015, company relays, Germany received 32.5% of all energy from renewable sources from the 27.3% the year before. New wind power plants are soon to be open in Germany. Therefore, it is likely the country will meet its goal of electricity from 100% renewable energy by 2050. Germany is the only country transitioning to clean energy. Sweden aims to be the world's fossil fuel-free nation, and Denmark's wind turbines already at some point generates more electricity than country consumes, exporting the surplus to Germany, Norway, and Sweden. What are your thoughts? Well, I find that pretty cool. I think it's neat to have more using technology on using energy. And I always say this too, like even in the United States, things are happening here as well. Instead of relying on the government, we got to try to do more things than ourselves. We got to get rid of all the bureaucratic red tape, Agenda 21 garbage, when you have government telling us what to do. This is why I like to see people more off the grid. And they call you criminals. I say go in their town office and use it as an outhouse. Yes, that's right. And includes the city of Fort Lauderdale. Ha 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 ha. Just give you guys an example. Okay, it's enough of your Uncle Tom and Aunt Jemimas out there. But I do find it's pretty cool. And hey, we gotta start doing it, my friends. But when you got these big corporate power companies don't like it, you know what? Because they're desperate. They want us to believe we need them. And this is why I said no, they need us. Without us, they're nothing. Remember, people got great attributes. Without us, nothing can happen. All right, finally here. Came from Activist Post again. What's this from? What site originally? Hold on here, friends. Yeah, Creative Commons. So I think Activist Post, what they do, they get like multiple links and they put a post in their post. It's pretty cool here. It says controversial free speech zones finally being banned from college campuses. James Holbrooks. Came out yesterday. Amid long-running debate in Iowa about constitutionality of free speech zones on college campuses, the governor of Arizona recently signed new bills that will effectively turn campuses themselves into zones of free speech in that state. Both Arizona bills were signed into law by Governor Doug Ducey on May 16th. House Bill 2548 targets free speech infringement in public squares. HB 2615 eliminates free speech zones altogether and orders those areas to be converted into memorials or monuments. In a statement, Ducey wrote, part of the university experience is to be able to express diverse views openly without fear of retribution or intimidation, and to be exposed to other views and perspectives, even if they aren't politically correct or popular. I like that, gutsy. And the notion of designating areas where students can politically protest as long as they've been long been sharply criticized as antithetical to the First Amendment. As March of this year, Dr. Charles Kessler, prominent conservative professor and senior fellow at the Claremont Institute, stated in an interview that students today aren't looking for the college to protect them for argumentation from offense easily taken. From his interview with the Daily Signal, The mantra of students protesters these days is "I'm offended," and "I'm offended" is very different from saying "I disagree." When you say someone "I disagree with you," you invite a conversation. "I'm offended" means stop talking. In recent years, opponents to free speech zones are finding more and more reasons to celebrate. In April 2014, Virginia became the first state of the union to ban the practice when HB 258 passed both houses of the assembly unanimously and then was signed into law by the governor. A little a little over a year later, in July of 2015, Missouri Governor Jay Nixon signed the Campus Free Expression Act, which designates the outdoor areas of campuses of public institutions of higher education to be the traditional public forums, in making Missouri the second state to adopt such a measure. Now, with the news out of Arizona, 3 states have chosen to eliminate free speech zones from college campuses. On the other side of the spectrum, what has been happening in Iowa is a good example of how complicated the issue can become. As early as 2009, professors in the Hawkeye State had expressed concern over the impairment of free speech on campuses in the wake of the Iowa State announcing that special zones will be established for political protest. The Iowa State Daily put questions to professors and neighboring University of Iowa. Our associate professor of journalism, Stephen Barry, said that as a journalist, he would adamantly oppose any limitation on free speech, except that will cause imminent danger to life or property or violate the constitutionally protected rights of others. Addressing free speech zones, specifically, he added that he would also be concerned about restrictions on where protesters are allowed to make their voices heard. The issue didn't go away, and by 2015, the Iowa State student government was being asked to vote forward a bill that would create an additional free speech zone, a bill students voted down in the name of free speech. The seemingly conflicting nature of the student government's action led to headlines like "Iowa State students vote against free speech, claim they advocate free speech." Last month, while Arizona was giving free speech zones, the boot Rekha Basu of the Des Moines Register wrote an editorial outlining the frustration felt by many at the practice that seemed so fundamentally odds at the First Amendment. She opens, "There may be no greater paradox than the concept of free speech zones on college campuses, not because college students aren't sophisticated enough to deal responsibly with their freedom of speech, but because campuses are by definition free speech zones. Carving out special areas to exercise that right doesn't just undermine the premise, it goes against the purpose of a higher education." Thank you. That's from it's originally on Creative Commons. And I am very pleased to see this happening. And I do give these governors from the states that are addressed here aforementioned the thumbs up. I thank them. And people in those states should thank them as well. I am pro-freedom. My rights are natural born and it should not be compromised. And yours as well. I do recall in 2008 with the Republican presidential debates that happened in Florida Atlantic University in Boca Raton. A bunch of us were marching. A bunch of the Ron Paul supporters were marching down, and we're scoping out, the sidewalk where the venue is going to be having this function, and we noticed on the baseball field a bunch of firefighters were behind it, had their signs. And they're like, "What's this about?" And they go, "Oh, they told us to stand back here." Well, a lot of us said, hell, we're not going to follow that, because the truth of the matter is, Florida Atlantic University, for example, was state funded. That was my tax dollars going to that school. It was a public college, a public university. And you know what? We took a stand. We rallied there. And we worked with the Boca Police Department as well to make that happen. I thank them for that, because it was peaceable. We went out there and we spotted the people in the field. They were like, "Wow, that's how you do it, folks." So, thumbs up, kudos, man, to those folks that fighting these free speech zones. To me, it's a sham. It's compromises, and illegal. All right, my friends, I thank you for your time. Plus, feel free to download and share this throughout your social media networks. That includes all the stuff on my archives. All right, you can just go to Spreaker.com. Okay, if you have any questions, comments, compliments, criticisms, love letters, hate letters, or you want to send me something that's real interesting or pretty cool stuff that I haven't addressed yet, please do so. However, I always recommend sending your correspondences with decorum. You can hit me on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Tumblr, YouTube, Freedoms Network, and Scene.life. Or you can email me at LokiLuck3, which is altogether the number 3, at gmail.com. All right. Well, I'm going to decide to play a song. It's from a metal band, like a symphonic metal, death metal band. I think it's from Chicago. I could be mistaken. It's called Mechina. Mechina. And they have a concept album. One of those concept songs called Zoticus. Pretty good stuff. Just check them out. They've been around for like 3-4 years now. And if you haven't heard them, check out the link. I want to post this on my footnotes. Everything I address is going to be in my footnotes. Okay, including the song. Check it out. You won't be disappointed, all right? Once again, thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves, keep on spreading the love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.